The must-read opinion pages, Republican Senator from South Dakota, our friend Senator John Thune. Good to have you on the set with us.
Yes, great to have you here.
Nice to have you in town.
Yes.
Kind of want your take on the NFL stuff, and then we're going to get to ISIS. So this is Joe Nocera in the New York Times. The NFL stands by its leader. If you want to understand why Goodell's job is almost certainly safe, this is why. The only people who can fire him are the 32 NFL owners, and they have zero interest in letting him go. He makes them money. Currently, the NFL takes in about $10 billion overall. Goodell has told them he wants to make it $25 billion, a $25 billion business by the year 2027. You can practically see their mouths watering at the prospect. Is that what it comes down to? And what's your gut on what you think should happen here?
And what should Congress do? We understand the NFL from Politico is hiring lobbyists. They're going to bring them up there to tell you guys, hey, everything's okay, nothing to see here. Does Congress need to look into this?
We'll see. I mean, I think right now they're launching their own investigation, which I credit them for doing, but should have probably been done a long time ago. They've got a lot of adults who make lots of money behaving badly, and they've got to fix it. You know, these are people that young kids in this country look up to. These are individuals who are paid enormously well for what they do, and I think that the NFL has got to deal with this and confront it in a more direct way than they have so far, or they're going to lose the confidence of the American people, no matter how popular the game is, and a lot of young kids that look up to these guys.
A lot of young kids do. Here's Thomas Friedman, New York Times. What's their plan? Never forget, this is a two-front war. ISIS is the external enemy, and sectarianism and corruption in Iraq and Syria are the internal enemies. We keep making this story about us, about Obama, about what we do, but it is not about us. It is about them and who they want to be. It's about a pluralistic region that lacks pluralism and needs to learn how to coexist. It's the 21st century. It's about time.
But John, unfortunately, we can't teach them to go over and hug each other. So what do we do right now? Are you going to give the president the authority? Matt Salmon was on earlier talking about the need on the House to expand the authority from 2003. What do you think the Senate should do?
Well, there's some Republicans in the Congress, both in the House and the Senate, but also some Democrats, Joe, who want to have that broader debate about, an authorization of the use of military force beyond the training of the Syrian rebels, which is what's going to be debated this week. But the answer is yes. I mean, I think the president will get what he wants. He'll have a lot of support from Republicans. There are a lot of Republicans who think it should be broader. There are a lot of Republicans who think this should have been done sooner. But by and large, I think you're going to have a big bipartisan vote in both the House and the Senate in support of the authorization, which, as I said, is limited to the training of the rebels at this point.
Do you think the president is going to get what he wants from other countries in terms of support from what we've seen so far?
Well, I hope so, Mika. And I'm interested to hear, like you are, what John Kerry's. We're hearing a lot of sort of ambiguous commitments, but whether or not there's going to be specificity to what some of these countries are willing to do. But I think it's important. I think it needs to be a coalition. I really do, because otherwise it's going to be awfully hard for us to sell this there and at home.
Jeremy.
My sense from talking to Republicans on Capitol Hill is that there's been this deep mistrust of the president throughout his term, right? But what you have here is an issue on foreign affairs, an issue in which kind of really, I think, highlights their deep mistrust of his worldview. And so I wonder, what percentage of conservatives in the House and the Senate are going to say no to the president?
Well, I think there will be some, Jeremy, for the reasons that you just mentioned. And it's like the American people. I mean, even though they support action, which the polls that are out this morning demonstrate, there's still a lack of confidence that it will succeed. And I think part of that has to do with that people aren't confident in the president's leadership on these important issues. And I think that'll be reflected a little bit by perhaps some members in the Congress. But I think by and large, you'll see a big vote in the Congress for this, because I think both sides recognize something has to be done. We've got to be aggressive, we've got to be decisive, and we've got to rally the world behind us, including a lot of those Arab states in the region as well as those in Europe.
Senator, you reap what you sow, and we know that the president inherited a situation from President Bush. Obviously, the next president, whether Democrat or Republican, will inherit a situation from President Obama. So how do we plant the positive seeds of what we need to see for generations to come with the current situation in ISIS? Because if we just drop bombs on them and try to stamp them out, we know that other terrorist organizations just like them are going to rise up.
That's right. And I think, Thomas, that's why it's so important that this be led or at least partnered with folks from the region. You've got to have the Saudis, the Jordanians, the Turks, and others involved in this effort. Otherwise, if it becomes a U.S. effort, then you sow some really bad seeds for the future. And that's why the efforts that are being made right now to rally support in the region and to make this a much broader coalition are so critical, I think, to success of the effort, and I think not only in the near term but in the long term. We may stamp this out in the near term, but we've got all kinds of problems in that region in the long term unless people on the ground are willing to take the initiative for themselves and win this for themselves.
Pretty powerful and very pretty.
Look how good looking these people are here. I mean, Roberts, Thune, and Peters. You look at these three guys. I mean,
like a law firm.
models.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, a law firm made up of all really hot male models.
And so fan yourself, Chip.
And Thune can. I'm a slob. Thune can just break chairs in half.
I've seen that. That's happened right in front of me. I didn't know what was going on.
It's always.
My goodness.
That was all done for your benefit.
Oh my God, it was good. Good stuff. Senator John Thune, thank you so much.
John, it's always great to see you, buddy.
Good to Joe.
Thank you for coming.
Still ahead.